A very good morning, children. Well, into this class of economic application, we shall take up a new topic, and the topic is classification of economy on the basis of level of development. Okay, but before we go further on this topic, a bit of recapitulation on what we did in the last class. Well, in the last class, we were talking about the different types of economy, where we discussed about capitalism, socialism, and mixed economy. And we also made a distinction of capitalistic economy, socialistic economy, and mixed economy. Well, today, as just now, we'll talk on classification of economy on the basis of level of development. Okay. So let's get started. Well, on the basis of the level of development, economies can be, broadly or mainly classified into two categories, and that is developed economy and undeveloped economy. Okay, so in today's class, we will talk what is developed economy, underdeveloped economy, which is also known as developing economy, and we shall also discuss about the features of both the economies, that is developed economy as well as underdeveloped economies. All right. Okay. So first is a developed economy. What is developed economy then? Well, a developed economy refers to an economy which enjoys a very a very high level of per capita income, and the standard of living of these economies are also quite high. Okay, now as I'm talking about per capita income and standard of living, I'm talking about this. First of all, let me briefly explain this term to you, because I'm going to talk about per capita income and standard of living very often in this class. So first of all, very briefly, let me tell you what is per capita income then. Okay, so per capita income is a measure of amount of money earned per person in the nation. Okay, per capita income is also known as per head income. So in short, we can define per capita income as a measure of amount of money earned by a person in a nation. Okay, and standard of living, an individual's standard of living is measured by his or her, isn't it? So similarly, country's standard, the country's or economy's standard of living is measured by what? Is measured by the, amount of per capita income in the country. Understood? So, with reference to this, what is developed economy then? Well, a developed economy is an economy which enjoys what? A very high level of per capita income and high standard of living. That's developed economy. Okay, then what's underdeveloped or a developing economy then? By the way, please do not get confused that underdeveloped economy is also known as developing economy. In fact, in today's world, we hardly use this term underdeveloped economy. Rather, we use the term developing economy. Okay, that sounds better. Right, but both means same. It's not a two different concept or a topic. It's the same. Either you call it underdeveloped economy or a developing economy. Okay. So what does it mean then? Well, an underdeveloped economy or a developing economy refers to an economy where the level of income or say the level of per capita income is quite low, and the standard of living of the people in such economies is also very low. Okay, that is, I'm talking about underdeveloped or developing economies. So these are the, so this is the difference between developed economy and underdeveloped or a developing economy. All right, now we'll see the features of developed economy first, then we'll switch on to the features of underdeveloped or a developing economies. Okay, so see, here I'm going to talk about features where, when I've taken up some points which are common to all the economies. Okay, when I'm talking about developed economies, what happens is that there are many countries which comes under the category of developed nation or developed country. Okay, and each of these country have their own characteristics, and they have their different countries have different characteristics. Okay, but I've taken up some common points. I've taken up some points which are common to all this developed economies. First, I'm going to talk about the features of developed economies. That's where I'm saying that I've taken up some points which are common to all this developed economy. Because, as I said, there are many countries, which comes under the category of developed economies, but different economies have different characteristics, right? But as I said, I've just taken some common points. Let's discuss those. Okay. All right. So the first feature of developed economy is what? High level of per capita income. Okay, so one of the main features of developed economy is what? High level of per capita income. That means developed countries have what? A high level of per capita income, as a result of which what happens? People in these countries or in these economies, they enjoy good standard of living, and as a result of which their consumption power means buying power, what you purchase, or purchasing power. Consumption power also means what? Purchasing power. The purchasing power or the consumption power and the standard of living of the people in developed countries are quite very high. Understood? Okay. Therefore, because of this, in developed nation, the amount of poverty can also be overcome to some extent. Okay. That's it. That's point number one. That is high level of per capita income. Okay. Now, the second feature of developed economy is what? Predominance of industrial and service sector. Predominance of industrial and service sector. Okay, see, developed economies are largely dominated by industrial and service sector than agricultural sector. What does this mean then? It means that the major part of the country's income, the major part of the country's national income comes from where? It comes from either industrial sector or from the service sector. Okay, it doesn't mean that agriculture has got zero role. No, agriculture does make some contribution in the national income of the country, but very negligible. Okay, why? Because the major part of the income, the major part of the country's national income comes from where? It comes from industrial sector and the service sector. Understood? Okay. As I said, the contribution of agricultural sector is in the national income is very low. Okay, so like for example, if I have to give some example, a very good example of developed nations are United States, then Germany, Japan. These are some of the countries which comes under the category of developed nation. In such countries, like for example, if you take an example in USA, in United States, the contribution of agriculture towards the national income of the country is only 3%. Likewise, in UK or in England, the contribution of agricultural sector towards the national income is just 2%. Why? Because in these countries, what happens is that industrial sector and service sector have their major contribution compared to agriculture. Understood? So that's it. That's point number 2. Point number 3 is full exploitation of resources. Okay. See, in developed economies, the resources, whether the resources are the natural resources like the land or mineral, or say the physical resources like raw materials or machines, or human resources like manpower, etc. Such, whether it is a natural resources, the physical resources, or human resources, all these resources are what? Fully utilized. Understood? As a result of which, the productivity of labor is also quite high. Understood? So this is very important, in developed nation, in developed economies, the resources does not go wasted. It doesn't go wasted. They are what? Fully utilized. Understood? So that's an important feature. Well, the next point is technological advancement. Okay, in developed country, the technique of production used in these economies, the technique of production used in developed economies or developed countries are highly advanced and complex. They're very high, they're highly advanced and complex. Okay, so this is one reason why, productivity of, as I said just now, the productivity of labor is also very high compared to underdeveloped nation. The technique of production in every field, the technique of production, mainly, they use a capital intensive method, in the main technique of production is what, the capital intensive, but that too they use what, very advanced and complex. Complex means what, it's a very, high level, very high level, and advanced means techniques of production they utilize for any means of production. Okay, that is why the level of the productivity of labor also goes up, and also what, the level of production also goes up. Understood? That I'm talking in case of what, developed economies, right? So the next point is high standard of living. Yes, in the standard of living of the people in developed economy is very high. People in these economies or people in these countries are quite educated and quite healthy. They are quite educated, quite healthy, and the population, the growth rate of population in developed nation is very what? It's very low. It's quite low compared to underdeveloped nation. The growth rate of population also plays very important role in the development of the country or the development of the economy, isn't it? Okay. The more the population has got an adverse effect on the development of the country. Yes or no? Higher the population, the more chances of unemployment leading to poverty, etc. Isn't it? Therefore, in developed nation, what we notice, one very important point is that the growth rate of population in developed nation is quite low, which is very good. Okay. Well, so these are the features of developed nation, which are common to all, as I said, developed countries. Okay, so now we will see the feature, what is underdeveloped country and the features of underdeveloped country. Okay, once again, what is underdeveloped country? Well, an underdeveloped or a developing country is a country whose standard of living and whose per capita income is very low. Alright, so let's see the features of underdeveloped country. First of all, low per capita income. Yes. Now see, one of the main feature of underdeveloped or a developing economy is that the per capita income of the people living in underdeveloping country is very, very, very what? It's very low. Okay, so the level of income. The level of income or the standard of living of these people in underdeveloped or a developing nation is so low. It's so low that the majority of the people, they live below poverty line. You understood? So, in underdeveloped or developing country, the living standard of the people is so low that majority, about say 70 or more than 70% of the people in the country, they live below poverty line. Understood? What is the reason for this then? The reason are very simple. First of all is they use outdated technique of production. Understood? Okay, low low rate of saving and investment. These are some of the reasons for low per capita income in the country. The level or the rate of saving is very less. Investment is very less. Understood? Okay, and the resources are hardly utilized. So these are some of the reasons, which leads to the decline in the per capita income of the people. Understood? So this is one of the feature of developed economy, right? Now, what is the next feature then? Well, the next feature is low level of living. That means the standard of living of the people is very low. All right. So in underdeveloped country, the standard of living of the people is low, very, very low. Therefore, majority of the people in underdeveloped country, they suffer from ill health. They suffer from ill health and what? Malnutrition. Okay. So this is one of the features of what? Underdeveloped or developing country. That is, the standard of living of the people is very low, which leads to what? Ill health and malnutrition. Okay. So the next point is what? The next point is high growth rate of population. Yes. Now this is one of the major drawback also, you can say, that one of the very, very important feature, you can say important feature as well as drawback of underdeveloped economy is that the population growth rate is very, very is very high compared to developed nation. And as I said that the population growth rate, if it is not controlled, if the population goes on shooting up like if it goes on shooting up like that, then what happens if the graph of the population grows up very high, then that will obviously affect the standard of living of the people, because it will lead to this is one of the reasons which leads to unemployment in the country. Isn't it? Fall in, which again, if unemployment, which again leads to what? Poverty. Isn't it? Okay. One of the main reason for unemployment and poverty is what? Population. Isn't it? So in underdeveloped or developing nation, one of the main feature of underdeveloped nation is that the population growth rate is very, very, very high compared to developed nation. Understood? Okay, so that's it. Next point is technological backwardness. Yes. What does it mean then? See, the technique of production adopted in underdeveloped nation is very, very obsolete. Okay, they are very, quite old and outdated. Understood? So the main cause for this is that the capital technique, the capital intensive technique. The capital intensive technique are not suitable in underdeveloped nation. One of the main feature of developed nation is what? They make use of capital intensive method, no? More capital, less labor. But in underdeveloped or a developing nation, or in developing economies, what happens is that capital intensive method of production is not possible, or not possible in the sense it is not suitable. Why? Because as I just before this I told you that the growth rate of the population growth rate is so high that there is a lot of unemployed people. There is a lot of labor available in developing nation. So they make use, the existence of large number of unemployment population is so much in one hand, and on the other hand there is what? Scarcity of capital. So what happens? They cannot adopt capital intensive method. They have to go for what? That old obsolete method of production, that is what? Labor intensive method. Okay, so this is one of the main features. The technique of production that is adopted in underdeveloped nation is very, very old, obsolete and outdated. Understand? Okay, so the next point is underutilization of resources. Okay, so another important feature of a developing nation or underdeveloped economy is that the resources, whether it is a natural resource or physical resource or human resource, these resources are not utilized properly. They are either underutilized or they are unutilized. Understood? So these are the features of what? Underdeveloped nation or underdeveloped economies that we discussed today. Okay. Well, I think we're going to stop here for today's class. Okay. We shall continue the same topic in the next lesson. So till then, kindly stay tuned. But let us briefly discuss what we studied today. Well, we studied what is mainly we focused on what? The classification economy on the level of development, where we talked about developed economy and underdeveloped economy, and also we talked about the features of both developed economy and underdeveloped economy. We shall continue this lesson in the next class as well. Till then, stay connected.